Hello dear World of Warcraft friends, welcome back to a new video on my channel. Today we're talking about leveling. Turbulent Timeways won't be active for much longer, most likely only about 3 more weeks. And we want to take a look at how you can get the most out of it, how you can level up the fastest with Turbulent Timeways. And actually, it's not just about queuing for dungeons until level 90. There are a few steps you need to take to get the fastest results out of this event. I've gathered all this information for you from a speedrunner named Vexant, and with that, let's get started. Yeah, if you want, feel free to leave a like, subscribe. We've almost hit 37,700, so that would be really awesome. And with that, let's get started. Part number 1 is, as I said, you don't want to just queue for dungeons all the time. I noticed that with my hunter as well. Honestly, it's not as good anymore, or rather, it used to be a lot more effective, I have to say. But what you want to do first is start with all 10 delves. Each delve on the map has a quest at the beginning of the dungeon that requires you to complete that delve. So far, so good. The thing is, you want to do that as early as possible because the level scaling is simply, well, lower or easier. And you'll have fewer problems blasting through at level 80, especially if you still have good gear from the War Within, compared to level 90. Otherwise, while you're completing these delves, and this is important, you don't want to turn in the quests yet, okay? You complete the delves, but you don't turn in the quests yet. And in the meantime, you queue for time walking dungeons. You do this until you have 4 stacks of the buff. In other words, you want to have Master of the Turbulent Timeways. That's the buff I'm talking about. But beyond that, that's it. So, like I said, it's not about just blasting through the dungeons to max level, but you do the delves just like here. And while you're doing that, you queue for dungeons while you're in there, or once you're back outside and flying back and forth, so you keep getting stacks of Master of the Turbulent Timeways. That's the important thing about the event. Here, such a delve gives 170,000 XP. That's really huge. And if you stack that up with the buff, it's another 30 more. You want those 30%. Otherwise, you want to accept the weekly quest with this week's Overflow objective. That would be here in this case in Eversong Woods. There's a weekly quest where you're required to earn 20,000 points in the Overflow events. You do that after you've completed these 10 delves and also pick up the bounty hunt for this zone. In my case, that would be, let me see, Suleiman. And of course, after that, you should, once you've completed that, and also here, right? You don't want to turn in the quests yet. You do all that stuff, but you don't turn it in yet. And it's also important to mention that how far you get with this in the end also depends on other buffs. For example, whether your warband gives you 25% more XP and so on. All in all, though, this method should make sure that you can reach max level in about 2 hours. After that, once you finish the part with the surplus, you take on a bounty hunt. And this time, if you haven't already, in Eversong Woods. The reason for this is that you want to complete Salteril's Soare together with the bounty hunt. I already showed you this in a separate video. The event is super easy to complete. And I would recommend look for and accept the quest at the grounds of Salteril's Soare. And after that, you look for a suitable group in the group finder. That way you don't have to farm latent arcana and can just join the kill. And then you'll be done with this quest in, I don't know, 2 minutes, quick as a flash, and you'll have everything you need. Afterwards, once you've done all that, you've already earned a bit of XP just by blasting through the dungeons. You've done Salteril's Soare. By that point, you should have completed 2 bounty hunts. All in all, you should have completed the 10 delves. Plus, you should have finished the Overflow. And then, importantly, make sure that the time walking buff is still active. It should actually be possible without any problems at this point. But if you took a little longer, make sure you have those 30 bonus XP. And after that, turn in all the quests from these delves. So all 10 of them. If you did a few extra things here and there in between, it might be enough to reach level 90 at this point. In most cases, probably not. Now you can go through here and basically decide what you want to do next. Personally, I'm a big fan of that. I just pick any profession. For example, in the past, cloth was relatively cheap, and then you just get extra XP from the first crafting orders. So, when you craft a new item for the first time, you get XP. With that, you can gain up to 1.5 levels. Of course, that costs a bit of gold, but it doesn't require any extra work from you to get those additional levels. Or you can keep going to the NPC for the bounties in Silvermoon and get random bounties from Astalor. That's also possible, and then just finish the rest that way. All in all, if you follow this method, whatever you want to call it, you should reach level 90 in about 2 hours. And it's not the fastest way. I have to mention that. There's still this route from Halden who made the add-on Follow the Arrow. I've already shown you that before. That's still faster. I think he's now managed times of under 1.5 hours. But if you don't want to follow any questing route, if you just want to go out and have fun blasting away, in my opinion, this is the easiest method for you. To make progress here, you really don't have to pay much attention to anything. Just run delves, stack up the buff, 2 bounties, Salteril, Soare plus the Overflow, and then turn everything in. If you're still missing something at that point, either craft it or do more bounties, and then you're done with everything. It's actually pretty doable. And as I said, keep in mind, the more XP buffs you have from other sources like the Warband Collection or the Darkmoon Fair buff, if for some reason you still have them active, or the faster the whole thing goes. I would also recommend, if you can, unlike with my priest, make sure that you are rested, because as you can see here, just by completing a single delve, you already fill up a few bars. So every little bit helps to get through as best as possible. And yeah, with that, we've actually already made it. We'll take a look here at this point, so if you don't want anything else, you can feel free to leave the video at this point. Thank you for watching. And now we'll just take another look at how much XP you get when you complete a delve and while you are fully rested. Of course, this is a very small delve here. Still, we got almost 80,000 XP from it. What also works very, very well, and that's why I was here, is in Haranda, these weapon legends or legends of the Haranea. Some of these quests only take about 5 minutes and give you a lot of XP. That's also something you can easily complete. And now you can see here, in just a few minutes, we've filled 3 bars plus this juicy 170,000 boost. If we get another 30 on top of that, yeah, you can do the math yourself, times 10. With that alone, we get several million XP, and you need about 5 million to reach max level. That's also a good thing. Yeah, so thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video. Have a good time and take care.